Và sau đây là phần thông dịch của sư cô Thiên Tuệ. Xin thỉnh sư cô Thiên Tuệ thông dịch. The following is the translation into English, and we're inviting Sayale Amarameda to translate for us.
Thank you, host. Today is Tuesday, December 8, 2020. The Dharma talks is 8:30 a.m. Let's start by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dhamma, I take refuge in the Sangha. The first time, the second time, and the third time. And now we are moving on to taking the precept. The first precept is trying to abstain from taking life. The second precept is trying to abstain from what is not given. The third precept is trying to abstain from sexual practices. The fourth precept is trying to abstain from false speeches. The fifth precept is trying to abstain from taking intoxicants that can cause carelessness and forgetfulness. The sixth precept is trying to abstain from eating at the wrong time, mainly from noon until dawn the next day. The seventh precept is trying to abstain from dancing, singing, listening to music, watching show, wearing garlands, perfume, ointments, etc. And the eighth precept is trying to abstain from lying or staying on high and luxurious seats or beds. So that is the procedures for taking refuge in the Chipu gem, as well as taking the precept. For today, Dhamma talks, please answer questions of yogi. Oh, I'm sorry. Before he start, he also recite Imaya Dhamma Nu Dhamma Pati Patiya Buddhang Bujemi. With the practice that conform to the Dhamma, I pay respect to the Buddha. Imaya Dhamma Nu Dhamma Pati Patiya Dhammang Bujemi. Or another translation would be, with all my practice, I pay respect to the Dhamma. Imaya Dhamma Nu Dhamma Pati Patiya Sanghang Bujemi. With all my practice, I pay respect to the Sangha. And we'll start with the first question. So for the first question, the yogi described about when the yogi observed when lying down. Dear Bante, when I go to sleep and when I was lying down, I observed the risings falling on the breathing and can feel that the entire body contact with the bed. And there is a very pleasant feeling. And I observed that pleasant feeling. After a while, then I feel a little bit unpleasant feelings arise in the body. And I observe the unpleasant feelings. And then because of that unpleasant feeling, there's an intention wanting to toss around. And due to that intentions, I have the, I want to toss around. So therefore I toss around. And after tossing around, then the pleasant feeling come back to the body. After a while, then there would be itchiness on the hands. And I observe the itchiness. And then there's an intention wanting to scratch the itchiness. Observing like that, I can see that this body and feelings and the jeta, the mind, is all stay within the body.
I can see the bodies lying on the bed, and the feelings is also lying there. When the body is not affected by any kind of feeling, there is no pleasant feeling nor unpleasant feeling arise in the body. However, when the body feel like there is something attacking it, like the mosquito biting on the body, then there is unpleasant feeling or itchiness arise in the body, and the mind observing or take notes of it, and the mind want to come and take care of the problem. Dear Bante, this is the question. Is this the right way to contemplate? Is this the right way to practice meditation? Is it how a person or a yogi should practice? So if I practice that way, what kind of contemplation am I doing right now? Is it the feeling? Is it the jeta, the mind, or the body? Thank you, Bante. So that is the question that the yogi raised. So Saraji dissect the question into smaller part. So first of all, when the yogi lies on bed and the yogi observing the out breath and in breath or the risings in the abdomen, that is a body contemplations of the body. Because of the posture lying, the yogi know that the yogi is lying down, not walking, not standing, not sitting, but lying. That is the one of the main postures, and that is based on the body. And the same time, breathing in and breathing out, or risings and falling of the abdomen, that is also the contemplations of the body. And when contemplating on the body, the yogi feel like the entire body is contacting with the bed, and there is this pleasant feelings arise. Knowing this pleasant feeling, the knowing mind, knowing that is the contemplations of the mind, and the feeling, knowing there is pleasant feelings in the body, that is contemplations of the feeling. So Sayajis explained that out of all the postures that we have, the four main postures: lying, sitting, walking, and standing. Lying is the most relaxed posture. So when a person lying down, most of the time we very relaxed in that way. There's a lot of pleasant feelings arise in us. And standing, sitting is require a lot of effort, especially when you do a sitting meditation. And when sitting meditation, that is the most beneficial posture for practicing meditation, because most of the time when you lie down, then even though you don't want to fall asleep, but because of the posture is so relaxed, your body is more relaxed than the sitting posture. So therefore, the yogi tend to sleep very easily. So if the yogi want to practice meditation, sitting postures is the best posture for the body as well as the mind to be concentrated and to develop wisdom. So after the sitting posture, then would be the standing posture. And after the standing posture would be walking posture. So that's why during the retreat, the yogi would take turn of sittings and walking in order to alternate the posture. So that first of all, blood circulate, and secondly is develop virya, effort. So when the yogi described that the entire body feel the contact with the bed, and then there's a pleasant feelings arise. This is very correct, because the body is relaxed, and then because of this relaxedness, pleasant feelings arise. And pleasant feeling, when the yogi contemplate pleasant feeling, that is the contemplations of the feelings in the feeling, and then the mind knowing that is the contemplations of the mind. After a while, then there is unpleasant feelings arise in the body. Of course, when you stay in one posture for a while, of course, there would be unpleasant feelings arise. So when the yogi notices it, the knowing mind is again contemplations of the mind, and unpleasant feeling, contemplating on the unpleasant feeling, then that is the contemplations of the feelings. And due to this unpleasant feeling, the yogi can see that the mind want to change the posture. The minds want to toss and turns around. And the yogi say that there's this intention. I see the unpleasant feeling, and there's is the wanting, the desire, want to toss and turn, and noticing that intention, and then the yogi carry out the action. So noticing this intention of wanting to toss and turn, that is a contemplations of the mind, and carry out the actions of tossing and turning to change the posture, then that is the contemplations of the body. And again, after changing the posture, this pleasant feeling arise back into the bodies of the yogi. And then yogi knowing this pleasant feeling, then back to contemplating feelings in the feeling. And when the yogi see the mosquito bites on the hands and there's itchiness and wanting to scratch its itchiness and then scratching that, then that's all itchiness. Knowing this unpleasant feeling or itchiness is the contemplations of the feeling, and wanting to scratch it is the contemplations of the mind, and carry out the actions of scratching and touching that, then that is the contemplations of the body. So Sarachi say that when the yogi, the way that yogi described is very clear and is very detailed, and that's how a yogi should contemplate when the yogi in any posture or lying down as well as sitting. And that is the right way of the contemplation. Then the yogi should continue like that. And when the yogi explain, when the yogi do that way, what kind of contemplations is that? So even though the yogi might not know how to label what kind of contemplation, is it the contemplations of the feeling? Is it the contemplations of the feeling body? Contemplations of the body, contemplations of the feeling, contemplations of the mind, or contemplations of the Dhamma. It does not matter, because this is only the conceptual, the labeling, the understanding, using word in order to direct the mind or to remind the mind what is going on in the body, in the feelings, or in the mind at the present moment. What's important is that what Yogi just described, and all this description, all this experience, even though the yogi do not know if it's body, feelings, or mind, the yogi describe very detailed and correctly the direct experience of the yogi. So just like he explained before, when the yogi know these feelings in the body, or is it pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, or neutral feeling, that is contemplations of the feeling. And then when the body is breathing, or the posture of the body, that is the contemplations of the body. And then yogi would see that if the mind is wandering, or the mind knowing that there is itchiness or unpleasant feeling, or the mind knowing the intentions of wanting to toss and turn, the intentions of wanting to scratch, and that is the contemplations of the jeta, the mind. So basically what the yogi has been doing is describing the contemplations of the jeta, the mind, the contemplations of the feelings, and as well the contemplations of the body. And this is very correct, and it's the right way to practice. So just continue to practice this way. And Sayagyi mentioned that even this is how a yogi should practice, because during our daily life, we do many things. We sit, we walk, we stand, we eat, we see, we do many activities, we scratch, but we do everything just like a machine, without knowing, without realizing, or without being aware of what is going on in our body, in our feelings, as well in the mind. But what the yogi just described, because of sati, because of mindfulness, so therefore the yogis are aware of everything that's going on in the body, in the mind, as well in the feeling at the present moment of contemplation. Okay. So moving on to the second question. Dear Bhante, within these past couple months, during my daily activities, as well as during the meditation retreat, I can see that my mindfulness is very continuous. And because of this continuous mindfulness, then there is awareness that's showing in the mind. And because of this, I feel like there is two things that are happening. One is the observing mind, observing this body or whatever, these entities that doing whatever they do. So basically, there is two separate entities happening. One is the observer, and one is the objects of being observed. So whatever this object is doing, this observer might always observe all the activities, all the postures, and all the things that are happening. And I can see this very clearly. These are two separate entities, body and mind, but not just only one person's anymore. And this understandings or this seeing comes very quickly. And sometimes it's come just only in a few seconds, but it's very, very clear. And I can see that these bodies or this human being are two separate entities. One is the observer, one is the one that being observed. So sometimes during the daily activities at home, I do not label so loud in the minds anymore, but I just notice knowing what is going on. Maybe because there's the maybe because the mind works so fast compared to the way or the speed of my labeling. So therefore, I do not label it in terms of words or in the minds anymore. But I just like notice it or noted that this is going on. So could you please explain to me about this experience? Thank you, Bante. So the yogi, what I understood the answers Sarachi gave was, right now when the yogi have this mindfulness that continuously for the past couple of months during daily activities at home as well as during the retreat, the yogi mindfulness become more mature and keener or sharper than before. And therefore the yogi develop the inside knowledge. So according to what the yogis explain, you say that this knowledge is could call nama rupa pachiteda nama rupa paricheda jnana. So this is the knowledge where the yogi understanding or experiencing the bodies is the two separate entity, bodies and mind, very, very different and separately, not just only as a one person's anymore. So in our daily life or in the mundane life, many of us have this ditthi or this wrong view about I, self, ego, and this ditthi normally, this wrong view normally attached to that this body is mine, this body is me, this body is self, and this body is my ego. So there is no understanding, the right understanding. This human being or this body or whatever that is that we call human being is actually made out of two separate entities, namas and rupa. Namas is the mind and rupas is material qualities. So when the yogi keep on observing bodies and mind or practicing vipassana meditation, then yogi mindfulness develop as well as become more mature. So therefore the yogi can see that, these things is just only one observer and the one being observed. So the observer is actually the knowing mind, nama, and the one that being observed or the objects of being observed is actually rupa, the material quality. So the mind, the characteristics of the mind is knowing, cognizing the object. But the body, they have no mind. The body is just there's no consciousness in the body. So the body cannot know anything. The body is just the body. So therefore, the way that the yogis explain very clearly that there is one observing mind, knowing the object, which is the body, and the body does not know anything. So whatever activities that the body carry out, the mind observe that. So this experience that the yogi have is come maybe very quickly. However, it's very clear. And the yogi, at that time, the yogi actually experienced or developed inside knowledge, the knowledge to understand, the knowledge to experience, to see that this human being are nothing but two separate entities, bodies and mind, very differently. Body do not know anything, have no consciousness, and the mind observing this body is knowing whatever activities going on in the body and the mind. And Pali is nama rupa paricheda jnana. So because of this, yogi would slowly develop the understanding that there is actually, this body is not I, this body is not mine. And because this understanding of this wrong view normally attached to this understanding that me or I is this body. And because of that, we develop this conceit, and whatever happening to us, we would not let it happen, and we would get very, very angry. And so I just give the example that when somebody says something that you don't like, or something's happened to you that you don't like, you would get very angry, and you would like want to destroy that things or smash that thing. So for example, if you walk and you hit the wall and you become so angry to the point that you want to destroy the wall or kick the wall. So that is just because of the wrong view. So slowly, when the person see that this human being is actually a two separate entity, just like the yogis explained, then you will see that the mind simply is knowing the object, and the bodies, it just does not have any consciousness, doesn't know anything. It just only carry out the actions, and that is the right way, or that is the inside knowledge arise from vipassana meditation. So when a person practices vipassana meditation, we always trying to direct the mind back into the body. And we always trying to direct the mind back into the minds of the body. So what? Because the objects of vipassana meditation is nothing but namas and rupa, either the bodies or either the mind. So with the body, then we're observing what is going on in the body, what is the posture, what is the activities, or the feelings that are happening in the body. In terms of the mind, what is going on in the mind? Is the mind wandering? In the mind thinking? Is the mind concentrated? All that things is the contemplations of the namas and rupa. And when this contemplations or this inside knowledge arise, the yogi can see that, this body, again, the mind and body are two separate entities. They have two different characteristics. They have different intrinsic nature, and they are just nothing but natural phenomenon happening or manifested by itself. And when the yogi trying to observe or be mindful of all the activity throughout the day, but without labeling it in the mind, let's say like standings or walking or something, but just observing by knowing, that is okay to do that, because again, the minds happen, whatever happening in the mind is very quick. And sometimes the activities that happen is too quick for the labeling to catch up with the knowing mind. So if as long as there is knowing there is awareness is there, whether or not the yogi will be to label everything, it doesn't matter. As long that you are aware, awake, and mindful, and knowing what is going on in the body, what is going on in the mind at the present moment. So Sarachi mentions a little bit about his experience back in the day when he first practiced Vipassana meditation. So he came from India to Niem, to Mahasi Sayadaw Meditation Center to learn about Vipassana meditations according to his Mahasi teaching. And in that Mahasi Meditation Center, yogi was instructed to practice the entire day, 20 hours a day, and then only 4 hours to sleep. And within this 24 hours, you have to be mindful. You have to contemplate everything, every single activities of the body, of the mind at the present moment. There's no time for do anything else. So when Sayadaw came to a Mahasi center, pay respects and register, and he thought that, okay, maybe I would take 1 day or so to relax and to write some letter back to India to let people know that I have arrived in Yangon safely, and thinking like that. So therefore, he didn't practice anything. So he came the first day. On the second day, he was asked to give an interview. And because he did not do any practicing, he did not sit, he did not walk, he did not pay attention to his daily activity, he was not mindful. So therefore, he had nothing to share about his experience. So when Mahasi Sayadaw asked him to give an interview, he couldn't say anything, he couldn't share anything. And it was very, very shameful and embarrassing. And because of that, Mahasi Sayadaw was so surprised, and he asked Sayadaw, why are you here? Why did you want to come here if you didn't want to practice meditation? And just because of that, he Sayadaw forgot about everything, about writing letter, about being lazy. All he wanted to do is just meditate and meditate and meditate, and then be mindful. So one time, as he was walking, towards the center, he saw that many people was like getting in line for the interview. And these people, the way that they stand, they was very mindful. They mind their own business. They kept their minds in the bodies, in the mind, and was very mindful. And because he was not mindful, Saraji looked at them and he thought, oh, these people are so mindful and I'm not. Maybe I cannot practice meditation. Maybe I cannot practice vipassana meditation. Maybe I just should go back to India and study the doctrine, the Dharma in theory. And because of that, thinking arise in his mind, and he was not be able to catch the thinking right away. It's developed and it's become like restlessness. It's keep on this thinking keep on arising in his mind, to the point where he become extremely emotionally overwhelmed, and he felt like, oh, maybe I just should leave. I should just leave. And thinking that way, and could not be able to catch the thinking, he decided to go see his meditation instructor. And because it was late at night, so when he came to see his instructor, there was no interpreter, there was no translator. So the instructor told him that there's no translator at this time, so why don't you just come back later? And because of that, Sayadaw think, okay, maybe I should just go back to my room, to, go to sleep, and then the next day I'm just gonna ask the permission to go back to India. On the way back to his room, Sayadaw passed by the meditation hall, and inside this meditation hall, people was meditating as a group, and they were so mindful, they were so concentrated. And because of that, this power, this strength, this energies of mindfulness was just oozing out, and he can feel that. And all of a sudden, he stopped right in front of the meditation center thinking, oh, whether or not I should go back to my room or I should go inside and meditate. And after a while, he decided I should go inside and meditate. So he went inside and sat down among all these meditators that have been very mindful meditating. And he started to paying attention to the risings and falling in the abdomen. And after a few noting, he was be able to follow the risings and the falling from the beginning to the end, each process from the beginning to the end. His mindfulness was there, his sati was there, his virya effort was there, and he would be able to practice wholeheartedly, ardently, continuously follow each rising and each falling from beginning to the end. And because of that, there is no thinking can arise in his mind. There is no restlessness can arise in his mind. His mind became calm, tranquil, and mindful. And after that, he went back. So the next day, when the instructor asked for him and came and asked, what was it that you wanted to ask yesterday? And because of mindfulness took care of everything, all this thinking, all this doubt, all these questions, all this self-pittiness or whatever that happening in his mind at that moment, at the moment last night, completely disappeared. And now he be able to contemplate, he see the risings falling the abdomen, he see the knowing mind. So therefore, he had no more doubt, he had no more question, and he decided to continue to stay and keep on practicing. So the Sayadaw gave this example to show that it's very important for us to be continuously mindful when we practice vipassana meditation. Doesn't matter what is the situation, all you have to do is mindful. If this thinkings arise, trying to catch thinkings right away when it's arise in the mind. Whatever the posture, whatever the activities that you do during the day as well as during the retreat, you're trying to have mindfulness continuously so that you never know when all this wisdom or this insight is going to arise in you. And just like the yogi described right here, this understanding or this realization that there is two separate entities, bodies is one entity, the mind, the knowing mind is one entity, came very quickly, and it's lasted very short. But it was so clear that the yogi know and understand very clearly and very surely that these bodies are actually two separate entities. The observing mind, knowing the objects, and the body is just the object without any consciousness. So so this realization is compared like the light. When the lights come, it shine onto the darkness or this dark corner where there's ignorance, where we did not know it before. So we live with this body. We hear all these things about bodies and mind, two separate entities, the knowing mind and the body, but we do not really understand it unless we experience it. Otherwise, everything's explained only the theory, only understand by thinking. But when the yogi experience it by the direct practice, no matter how short, no matter how quick it is, the experience is the yogi know for sure. This is what it is. Two separate entities, bodies and mind. So, and because of that, you also say that let sati take care of everything. Sati is just like a master key. And when you have sati, mindfulness, to remind the mind to go back at the present moment, and to think observing, contemplating what's going on in the body, what's going on in the mind at the present moment, all the doubt, all the question would be answers, and all this thinking will disappear when we are mindful, when we are aware and alert, watching the objects of the body as well as the mind at the present moment. And Saji also mentions a bit about yesterday questions when the yogi asked about yoniso manasikara. So yoniso manasikara, a translation into English would be a wise attention. Having a wise attention meaning that you know how to direct the mind at the right object, or having the right attitude. So with this method, we direct the mind, go back to the middle part of the body, which is the abdomen. And when we breathe in, the abdomen expand, that is rising. And when we breathe out, the abdomen collapse or is falling. And we're watching this risings and falling in the abdomen. And this risings or falling is nothing but the manifestations of the wind element. And when the yogi have this attention, trying to direct the mind, watching this carefully, continuously, and mindfully, that is yoniso manasikara. So that's all I have for today's translation. And I think before he left, he recited the Gatha about anicca. Or yesterday, I forgot to do that. So I think I should do that today. Sabbe sankara anicchati yada banyaya pasati atta nibindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe sankara dukkati yada banyaya pasati yatta nibindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe dhamma anattati yada banyaya pasati atta nibindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya. All conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. This is the path to purification. All conditioned things are unsatisfactory. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. This is the path to purification. All things are not self. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. This is the path to purification. This is the path to purification. And before he goes, he said that there's some other questions, and he will answer that to the next Dharma talk. And he encouraged everybody, if you have any questions, feel free to write to the organizer, and he will try to answer the questions accordingly when we have time. That's all I have for today's translation. Thank you so much for listening. I wish everybody a nice day. Bye-bye. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, 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 sayele. Thank you so much for a really beautiful translation. We look forward to your next translation this evening. Please have a very nice day, everyone, and you too, Sayele. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, host. Goodbye.